But if my dad had been with me today, which I know he's up in heaven looking down, he would have been really proud today. Because and I walked into NEA this morning, and they took us, we had a little meeting, and then they took us around. And where's Gary Brennan? Is he in the room? Gary served as the NEA director at one point. And when you look up on the wall, when you walk into a building and you see your name up on the wall, it is a very humbling experience. And then they gave me my business cards and my name tag. Boom, y'all. And I just want to tell you that it has been hard for me to hold back tears because I was Daddy's girl. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to tell you that I know things are kind of confusing right now. We'll talk about that under my president's report with all the changes going on in the school system. But the first thing we need to do is adopt our standing rules and adopt the agenda. If I could get somebody to go to the mic to move the agenda, please, to accept the agenda with flexibility. We have guests today.
Donna Christie, Treasurer, I move the agenda with flexibility.
Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, second.
Thank you. I would like to add under appearances, a D, which is our NEA member benefits. So under D, please put NEA member benefits. Seeing no one rising to the microphone, I put the question before you without objection. All those in favor of the adoption of the Representative Council agenda, please hold up your voting cards. All opposed? Thank you. You opposed? Oh, okay, you just a little small. But your hair color is on fleek, girl. Oh, yeah. I figure everybody else got something. I should give you something. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. We need to appreciate every moment. I want to, before we really get started again, I want to thank Greg Beard, who, former board member who has volunteered to be our parliamentarian. Let's give him a hand. I appreciate his sage experience. All right? So you have the standing rules in front of you, which include our minutes, or they were emailed to you. You got the standing rules with the dates for Rep Council. Okay. All right. I want to give you a highlight from the standing rules, and that is that in December we will have a Rep Council. Yes. What we have found out is that the way the election cycle runs, the election cycle, we have to give a certain amount of time for candidates to be announced and for them to give their speeches. When we went to electronic voting, where's my NECC people? They're outside checking people in. So anyway, what happened was, the calendar got moved back. We used to have our elections in March, so we had February for people to give their speeches. When we went to the electronic voting along with MSCA, it pushed things so that we would get to November and there wasn't time enough for us to give people to announce they were running at rep council and schedule the time for their speeches before the elections began. So we will have a special rep council in December, and the purpose of that rep council will be here the candidates who are running for office. I want to say it's the 16th. If it's not in your, it should be in your standing rules.
So right here it said no.
Okay, there's gonna be a December meeting. The president's calling a December meeting.
The 16th of the month.
December 16th is the date. Do I see someone at the microphone? Yes.
Sarah Flynn, Mount Rainier, I move the standing rules as presented.
Do you have a second?
Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, second.
Seeing no one else at the microphone, I put the question before you. All in favor of adopting the standing rules as amended, please raise your voting cards. All opposed? Thank you very much. Abstentions? That'll be no count. Just kidding. All right. So those are two big things. We also need to approve the minutes from our May meeting. Did those go out? No, we didn't have a meeting in June. May. All right.
We have it.
Can I get somebody to move the meeting minutes from May?
Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, again, moving the minutes from May.
Norman White, I second.
Moved by Michelle Clark, second by Norman White. Any questions? Seeing no one moving to the microphone, all in favor of the adoption of the May minutes, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you very much. Now that we've got the housekeeping out of the way, let's get to appearances. I got a call and a letter from the School Systems Foundation last week, and they said that they were going to honor one of our leaders at the foundation dinner on the 18th. And I said, really, who are you going to honor? And they said, Celeste Williams. And I said, isn't that wonderful? So I want us to give her the love and the roses while she's here with us today for that. And I also would like for her to come and talk with and share with you about our foundation, which she has been chairing for the past several years on a voluntary basis. Past president of PGCEA, and she's still volunteering and she's still working. She's running our MSCA PG Retired. That's right. Give her some love, y'all.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Teresa, thanks for the accolades, and I would like to say I'm so happy to be here because you are the building reps, and you are the leaders in the schools. I looked over the list, and I'm happy that you're here because it takes you to speak for what's going on in the buildings. If that does not come from you, other people do not know. They just assume certain things. And so I want to thank you for your leadership. And I know some of you have been doing this for many, many years, just like I did. Building rep, on the board, going to the meetings in Upper Mulgar, because it's so important that we as educators stay involved. We should not be so busy that we let other people make decisions for us without us having a vote. say, because after retiring, I decided that we still have a lot of work to do. And to my colleagues and my friends, and that's all of you in here, it does my heart really good to see that you're still in here pushing for the best for the youth. The PGCEA Foundation was formed a long time ago, but in 2015, they decided that in order for us to get more money to help seniors get scholarships, we would go to the 501c3. That was a wonderful thing. But one thing I realized that's happening is that we don't have most of the people in the system that participate. So I'm going to ask one of the UNICEF ladies here, Devin, where are you? She's out. But she will be giving you an envelope like this. And in this envelope is an application. And what we're asking you to do, if you choose to, is to donate at least $1 or more per pay period and help us to give scholarships. Now let me give you the background. One year we gave 50 scholarships. Last year we gave 32 scholarships for $1,000 each. I feel we can do a lot better. So I'm going to ask you as building reps to become involved. When you fill this out, there's a self-stamped envelope in here. If you want to fill it out here, or if you want to give it back to me, or to give it to Devin, or to give it to Miss Azalee Bell. Azalee, raise your hand. Okay. Either or give it to me. Put it in the envelope and hand it back to us so that we can get these things processed. It's nothing like walking around. We've given our lives to this career here in education, and knowing that you have reached back and you help a child to be better. The students that we awarded the scholarships are going to colleges, Berkeley, from the top all the way across the country. We had 17 universities of students that applied for, and they received scholarships. The grades were good, none have been rejected. And so we want to enlarge this because this represents us as educators. You know, you got a lot of scholarships out there, but this speaks volumes for us. So each of you, as soon as I stop, we're going to give each of you an envelope. And you can either see one of us before we leave, or you can drop it in the U.S. mail, and we'll get it. And I want to say to you, thank you so much for the past support that you've given. And when we raised over $32,000, and we could give 32 kids scholarships, that means a lot, because most of us know what it takes to make things work. Thank you.
So the scholarship committee, McKinley Hayes, and our minority affairs committee, and that's where the foundation started. And it started out at Rep Council. They passed the hat to help students get to school. We've now evolved to the point, I believe it was 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, that we were able to set it up so that people could payroll deduct their donations to the foundation. I don't know if Celeste said this, but it is tax deductible. And if you would like, you could even make the foundation one of your beneficiaries. That's what people do. And what better legacy could you leave for children? I know I saw on the news the other day where a teacher, it was on Facebook, where a teacher passed away, and she told everybody, don't send me flowers. She said, bring school supplies and backpacks, and all up and down the church, she had book bags for the children. So you can decide what you want your legacy to be. I know what I want mine to be. I sponsor just about a full scholarship myself. Because when Ken Haynes, Yvonne Basich, and Charles Burt and I sat down at Ken's house and drafted the frameworks for this, we knew that this was the right thing to do for our children and to help some of our students who may not have the opportunity to go to school, if not for that book money. So I appreciate you taking a hard look at that. PGC PS benefits, are they here today? Did they come? So, they told me they would be here today, but it's okay because I got the information in me. So on October the 15th through November the 15th is open season. You should have received an email at the beginning of September sharing that detail with you. We were told in July some stuff about the benefits. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to go to my president's report. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. But the main thing they were gonna share with you is that the open season starts October the 15th through November the 15th, and those are the only times that you can change your medical benefits. It has changed. It used to be that you could change your medical benefits in August up to September the 30th. However, the federal guidelines now state that our medical insurance plans have to run on a calendar year as opposed to an academic year as we were doing. So now the system has adapted to that so that your medical benefits actually run from January 1 to December the 31st. I want to say two things. One, if you don't have a flexible spending account, you need to get one. A flexible spending account allows you to put money away pre-tax to pay for medical benefits. If you have, if you take Motrin, right, you can use your flexible spending to pay for Motrin. If you have prescriptions, you can use your flexible spending, and they give you a little card. I'll show it to you in a minute after our next guests come up here. But you have they give you a little card like a Visa. And at the beginning of the year, they front load it. And then whatever you want to put in. Now, my son's getting orthodontistry work, so I front loaded a lot this year so that I can make sure I had enough to pay for his orthodontistry work pre-tax. So you want to really look at that flexible. There it is right there. That's the WageWorks card. Thank you, Arnetta. I appreciate you. That means somebody loved me today. Okay. Thank you. We have, I just was notified that we have quorum. There are 104 reps present today. So, the other thing about the benefits, and I might as well talk about it now because they're not here to say it. Our rates are going up. Now, when they told us back in July that the rates were going up, we said why? And we wrote them back and forth. Jennifer and I were going back and forth with the Office of Budget and Finance, and they said that because there were a large amount of claims and high claims at the first half of this year, they were concerned that because we're self-insured that there might not be enough money to pay for everything, so that they needed to raise the rates. And when we looked at the numbers really didn't reflect what they were saying to us. As a matter of fact, for the past several years, there has been there's been budgeted amounts for our medical benefits and actual. And for the past 4 years, it has always been where the actual amount that was spent was less than what was budgeted. Right. So if that's the case, why are you coming and getting in our pockets? So, I'm just saying, I'm wondering why, and if that's the case, then if you find out at the end of this school year, at the end of this calendar year, that there's money left over in that, then guess who it needs to come back to? The employees of Prince George's County schools. Now, the other piece to that is we brought to the board, I don't know how many of you watched the Board of Education meetings a couple of weeks ago. We had it on the table in negotiations for us to set up an insurance council. An insurance council that would include representatives from all the labor unions in the school system and representatives from the benefits office and other important people in the school system. Why? Because they're coming to us and saying, well, people aren't using their medical benefits right, which is true, right? People are going to the emergency room instead of going to urgent care. You don't need to go to the emergency room if it's not a true emergency. Right. Go to urgent care. First of all, the copay is $20 for the urgent care, and it's $150. Where's Claudette Clark? Is she in here? She'll tell you. So we got to utilize our medical benefits right. Also, there are some people who are going to doctors that are out of our network. So what does that mean? That means that a shot that costs $30,000 because you're going to a doctor who's out of our network, who doesn't use reasonable and customary fees, it costs the school system, because you're 80-20, $24,000, right? Costs you $6,000. However, that same shot might be available from a doctor who's inside of our network for $500. And I'm not making this up, because there was a case of this that they brought, and they tried to bring us in on it as if we were the problem. So that same shot, 80-20, what's the difference? Instead of being on the hook for maybe $425 for the school system, that's a big difference. And out of your pockets, it's a big difference too. Now, I know some of those things are specialty treatments, and people have to make their own decisions about what their lives are, but we've got to utilize our medical benefits right. And then there's the other piece to it, and I'm going to tell you the truth. We're not taking care of ourselves. I haven't been taking care of myself. As your president, I got pressure and the sugar, right? All of those two diseases that kill us. And I'm not playing. They put me on the program. I got a nurse that calls me once a week. I got to wear a little thing so I can check my blood sugar all day. I'm exercising now. My blood sugar's down. Because I'm trying to stick around and make y'all miserable for a few more years. So we're going to be doing some things to get y'all moving and exercising. We're going to start using that flexible spending money that the school system gets from the insurance company and have exercise classes right here at PGCEA. You want to meet me up at the track? You can go walking on Saturday mornings. Walk early in the morning, because I got to get this done. I went to my doctor and she said, you're fat, you need to lose weight. Your blood sugar's high. I said, you fat too. I said, I'm tired of you being mean to me, yelling at me every time I come in here. Guess what? I went back to see her three weeks ago. That woman has lost 45 pounds. She said, now what you gonna do? I know what I have to do, because I want to live to see my grandchildren. And I want you guys to really look at what you're doing. Look at what you're putting in your face. I know everybody wants cookies and cakes and chocolate, and it's all over the school building because every day it's somebody's birthday. Right? Put some carrot sticks in your bag. I'm walking around, I got my Wonder Woman bag, got carrot sticks in it. Got my Wonder Woman lunchbox. Think I'm playing? I got my carrot sticks right here. Instead of getting those Doritos, I pull out my carrot sticks, and I usually have a little hummus in here because it makes me feel better. Right? So the next time you belly up to the bar and start chomping on them chicken wings and having that ice cold one, I want you to think about what you're doing. I don't mean stop it forever. But if your blood pressure is high and your sugar's high, take care of yourself, please. Now give yourselves a round of applause because you're going to do that. And if you see me eating something I'm not supposed to be eating, you have my permission to just slap it right out of my hand. Rep council was healthy tonight. I told them we can't do that stuff anymore. I'm allergic to wheat, shrimp, everything. I found out all these medical tests they do. I wish I'd have found out that was allergic to shrimp and gluten before I ordered that Corona, that bag of shrimp though, basket of shrimp though. But you gotta do that. So, I want to take a moment right now to talk about some friends of ours that are in the house. Come up here. My BTU people, come on up here. So, BTU is the Baltimore Teachers Union. So, the reason why, come on, I'm not gonna bite you. I'm not gonna bite you. All right? Tell me.
My name is Tony Mason. I'm the Vice President of the Elementary Schools for the Teachers Union.
That's Tony Mason, Vice President.
I'm Brittany Johnson. I'm special services, one of the special services vice presidents in the teacher chapter.
So the reason why they're here today is because we have to make a difference together. Because for the past 30 years that I've been living in Maryland, they have been playing the poor children in Prince George's County against the poor children in Baltimore City. I'm tired of it. Are you? Yes. I remember Pete Rawlins doing that mess. So we're not going to allow that anymore. And we're working together in solidarity as labor unions. We even wrote a letter and did a joint press release when Larry Hogan said that the Kerwin Commission funding was going to cost too much money.
He always says that.
Yeah, well, he always says that. You're right about that. You're right. So we are working together. I wanted to introduce them to you. You will see me going to Baltimore, them coming here, us working together, because our children deserve the best. And like those signs say, what? Our children can't wait. So I want to thank y'all for coming today. You got enough fans?
We did.
Yes.
You got enough fans? Okay, because they did something I really like. They went, they got fans because it's so hot. The schools didn't have air conditioning. So they did a publicity drive about it, and people just started donating. I know I gave at least $50 because I know it's hot in those schools. And so they did a great job, and they got fans for a lot of the teachers. So let's give them a hand for that. It's a new day in Baltimore Teachers Union. They had the same president for, what, 28 years? 28 years, now they got a whole new board. So congratulations to you. Congratulations. So the next thing on the agenda is NEA member benefits. And this year we have something exciting. So everybody say, woo! All right? So, look, I am so cheap. Okay, say, how cheap are you? How cheap are you? I am so cheap that these pants cost $9.99, but I had a coupon for 40% off. My jacket was $19.99 and 40% off what I paid, $12. So I'm looking good for $20 today. And what I want to say benefits can help us save money. If you use it right, if you got a Lowe's card, they give you 5% off at Lowe's, right? But if you buy it through NEA member benefits, you get points. And then you can use those points to buy other things. Best Buy, Neiman Marcus. I can't really afford that stuff, but I like to sell. Michael, you coming up here? China? This is Michael Gavin. Give him a hand. So this year we have a special program that we're going to be working with NEA member benefits. And we're going to have ambassadors. And it's a special program, and Michael's going to share with you some of the specifics. We'll put it all out in the newsletter this week.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Yeah, just think of me as I'm like the uncle who comes in with all the sugar candy. I know we shouldn't have that, and loud toys. But I just want to thank you. I'm with NEA member benefits, as Teresa said, and there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of discounts and programs that many of us are not taking advantage of. One of the big ones is the free life insurance, the complimentary life insurance. And I just want to say, at PEEPS this year, with the help of Teresa and all the staff, we were able to get close to 1,000 people to sign up their beneficiaries. And this is a program that all of our members need to know about, and I'd be more than happy to come out and talk to your buildings about this. We also have the federal student loan forgiveness calculator program. We have, many of us know the California Casualty Rep, Sandra Clemens Butler. We have so many benefits and programs, and so little time to go out to everywhere. Like Teresa said, with Teresa's efforts, we were able to get a pilot program here in Prince George's County where we're going to have ambassadors of member benefits. And what I'm going to do, I have these two sign-in sheets if anyone's interested in it. What it would entail is about once a month we'd have some trainings about the member benefits, and you would be out there talking about the different benefits. Not to be an expert, just a tip of the waves kind of situation, and I would give you certain tips on how to engage people with member benefits, everything from like, oh, you're a new member in the association, well, you get $15,000 worth of free life insurance. You're buying a brand new car, you know that crazy guy from Philadelphia, Michael, he saved $8,000 on buying a new car. Yeah, that's my dues for almost 10 years. So there's and everything in between. Now, I guess how many people use the member benefits or have heard of it? Okay. They're a great way for us personally to use them, but also a great way to engage potential members and members who are not as active as we think. That's why, as building reps, if you want to have me come out and talk about the federal loan forgiveness program, Sandra talk about car insurance, we're even getting, because of Teresa's great work, we're getting more retirement professionals to be able to engage with our members, and the members are protected. But what this program ambassadors is a year-long program of training, but it's like once a month we would be meeting and talk about like the great discounts and programs that Teresa is a huge advocate of, to how to get into different benefits for our family members. And I also want to point out, because we had this meeting, Teresa gave a great idea, and Jennifer as well, where the ambassadors are actually going to have special identification, swag, okay? So please, if anyone's interested, should I put it at the back table, where the rest are passing around, you think?
I would say put it at the back table if you could make sure you were back there so that people know where it is.
Perfect, yes. Yeah, well, Savvy, thank you, Jennifer, is another great program for all of our members. It's not just our millennial members. A lot of us had to go have student loans when we went back for our master's and graduate programs. So because if anyone's opened up the emails recently, or the news, you've seen that the majority of people who have applied for the federal loan forgiveness program have been denied. The largest reason why is because of the paperwork not being filled out correctly. So what the association has done is we teamed up with a company called Savvy. They were created by people from the Obama administration, the Department of Education, not this Department of Education. And what it is, it's kind of like TurboTax for your student loan programs. This is great for us as members with student loans, maybe for people in your building. And we have here on October 3rd at 4:30 to 5:30, we're actually going to get, I believe the CEO's coming, correct? Yeah, the CEO, I mean, he looks like he's 9 years old, but he's really smart. He knows what he's doing. And they're going to come in and do a presentation for you. And again, it's free only if you're a member. If you're not a member, you don't have access to it. And now they can file the paperwork for you every year, because that's another issue. Not only is the paperwork something wrong, but they're filed late. Well, it's like $29 a year. So they'll be able to talk about, again, it's October 3rd, 4:30 to 5:30. And I'm going to have these sign-in sheets in the back about the ambassador program. This will be one of the trainings on how to engage people and how to promote things like Savvy. It's a wonderful tool for not only the individual member, but also to increase strength of the membership as well. Gets people engaged in things. But we're also going to have trainings like how to shop for Cyber Monday, and tune in later for that. Thank you so much.
Okay. So the Savvy informational session, if you have children in college and they have student, or they just graduated and they've got a lot of student loans, like my daughter has some student loans, I'm going to have her come to this on October the 3rd so she can find out more about it. You need to look at this if you have a lot of student loans that you have from classes that you take. Michael and I have to have a little bit more of a conversation about what the swag is going to look like, because you know me, I want something good. So, and we're also looking at other ways to honor the people who become ambassadors. We'll figure it out, maybe gift certificates and stuff like that. So I want to move along in the agenda to the treasurer's report. Can I get a drum roll, please? Our treasurer, Donna Christie.
Okay, it might not be back there yet because it's hung up in the printer. The printer's having issues. Y'all know, you don't know anything about printer problems, right? All right. So you will get this, but in the meantime, just to bring you up to speed a little bit of what's been going on, for those of you who are new reps or even those who've been around, you may recall that last year, just before the end of the fiscal year, our accountant of almost 20 years retired. And so this past year, we've kind of been going through some changes in our accounting department. But we finally have a permanent solution, and his name is Jeff. And I don't know if he's in here because he's still trying to get these reports off the printer. But his accounting, we're contracting with him. His firm specializes in labor unions, so he gets us. He understands all the rules and regulations around what we do and how we're unique from other corporations and organizations. So that has been a tremendous help, because he understands you go from being like, classroom teacher to running a $2 million organization overnight, and you might not know everything a typical CEO knows. So he's able to explain things to us in human terms, which is awesome. So, that being said, moving on, I am very proud to report that we are financially sound. For this past year, we had an income of approximately $2.3 million, which is up 11.2% from last year, and above what we had budgeted for. Last year, we had taken a very conservative approach to budgeting because we didn't know what the post-Janus Supreme Court decision fallout was going to be. We didn't know how it was going to affect membership, but not only did we maintain membership, we grew membership. So, yay. actually exceeded our expenses, the money that went out, by $217,000. I know, right? So that is a very good thing, and a lot of that is driven not only by the increase in membership, but we've been applying for and receiving a lot of grant money from MSEA and NEA, which is good because we give them a lot of, when your dues is collected out of your paycheck, a lot of that is going to MSEA and NEA. So our executive director has been on a mission to make sure we get as much of that money back as she possibly can. If it's going to MSEA and NEA, we want to see it coming back to us. So,
Excuse me, Dara, if you didn't get one, raise your hand.
nobody has any.
Nobody.
Everybody, take one and pass it around.
Take care of this side. Just keep your hands up so we know.
Everybody, take one and pass it around. All right, so that's pretty much as you get it, review it. And if you have any questions about it, because I don't like to give answers in the open because I don't want to misspeak and I don't know all the answers. I need to be able to consult with the accountant before giving you an answer. So email them any questions you have about our financial situation, our financial statements, any information you want to know. Email me at D as in Donna, Christy, CHRISTY, at msenea.org. Okay, do I need to repeat that? D as in Donna, Christy, CHRISTY, at msenea.org. Anybody need it a third time? Good, awesome. All right, because the president's taking her time, I'm just gonna go into budget committee. What's that? I'm just gonna do budget committee, investment committee on here. Okay, so I just wanna, we're getting ready to start our audit. We're still closing out the last fiscal year. We're getting ready to start our audit, and that will lead us into the next budget cycle of crafting our budget for next year. If you have any budget priorities that you would like the organization to look at, feel free to email any ideas you have, again, to dchristy@msenea.org. And then finally, we have an investment committee as well that is reviewing how we're investing our revenue, our reserves. We do have healthy reserves as well. And also our pension plan, because we have a pension plan for our employees, not your pension plan, our employees' pension plan. And so we just had that meeting on Friday for our annual review with BB&T, who holds our pension program, and that is healthy as well. That is it's fully funded as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Greg's on our investment committee, and I just gave him all the information today, so he's still reading it. But so we're in good standing, we're doing great, and that's it for tonight.
So there are more copies of the treasurer's report coming. They're hot off the press. Okay. So, old business, and it says none, but I can tell you what's really going on around here, right?
Okay.
How many of you like the way PGCA looks now? When you walk in the front door? Okay? We have been going through some major remodeling over the past several months. It seems like an eternity when you can't use the bathroom. However, we really want our home to be a place where we can come to, where members want to bring their families and have events. If you have a lifestyle event that you would like to hold here, we do rent the hall out to our members. Membership has its privilege. So if you are, maybe you want to get married here, right? Maybe.
Birthday party, man.
I've seen people come in and do all kinds of things, baby showers, anniversaries, birthdays, but you can't rent the hall and have a cabaret and charge people to get in. We don't do that. That creates problems. And if you do have an event here, you need to be on site with it.
Yeah.
You can't just, leave Uncle Bubba in charge. Because then he's gonna have all his friends come up here, and they're gonna charge them money to get in, they're gonna get all liquored up in that pool. Okay? So we can't have that. So, here's my problem. We don't have any guidelines for that yet. And I'm looking for 3 to 5 people who are interested in helping us put together the guidelines for renting the hall for our members. The board voted to do it a couple years ago. We've been kind of, doing them on as needed basis. It really hasn't been a loud outcry from people to use it. However, this is a really nice place, and once we get the lights finished and everything, you can have I saw a lady, she had a wedding in here. A wedding here, we had anniversaries here, and we've got pictures to show. So, if you think about that, if you're interested, let me know at the end of the meeting, okay? The other, say what? Baby shower. Who's having the baby? Not me. Let's have the baby. Okay, so, future teachers. Now, all these committee reports are on there. We heard from budget. Bylaws is no longer Charles Burke because he has retired. Arun Parakat is not doing community partnerships. Rianiti Johnson, are you here? Okay. Rianiti is our political action committee chair. And if you have not signed up for the Fund for Children for payroll deduction, it makes it a lot easier. And we've got a big campaign coming up this year. Christy is going to talk about that in a moment, okay? The future educators, Ryan Curry. Zoe, come on up here, Zoe. You come up here, you can go to the microphone right there, make a decision.
All right, so, hi, I'm Zoe, and Ryan is
Speak
not
right
here
into that
tonight.
microphone, it doesn't bite.
Okay. So Ryan is not here tonight, but we have a bunch of people who are working on an early career educators committee. We just had our first event. Actually, it was a happy hour. It was very nice. It was good turnout. But we are hoping for an even better turnout for our next event, which is in October. So October 10th, from 5 to 7 here at PGCEA, we will be doing like a classroom management strategies. So basically our goal for this committee is to get all the new educators involved or early career educators within 5 years. So if you guys can let people know in your building who are new teachers about this, we think classroom management strategies is a good place to start to help them out. And our goal is to have monthly events. So this will be on October 10th from 5 to 7 here. And it will be sent out in the newsletter as well, so you'll see that. Thank you.
I'm just taking pictures of you guys because you look so good, okay? Government relations, Christy Lynch. Come on up here. This is important. I want you right up in the front. Don't trip.
Okay, so, moving forward, we've done a lot over the last couple of years. We did a lot of campaigning in the last election cycle. We have a new one coming up, and we're counting on all of you to help support us or support each other in this next cycle. So the presidential cycle is coming up. I know many of you have probably been listening to the debates that have been going on, and we want to stay keenly aware and on top of what's happening on the political front. The school board elections are coming up in districts 1, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So that's David Murray, Patricia Eubanks, Rahila Ahmed,
Kay Banks resigned last week.
Okay. Kay Alexander Wallace and Edward Murray. I'll let you speak to that. Edward Burrows, I'm sorry, there was a typo on here. Those seats will be up for election. We're also asking everyone to be prepared to be mobilized for Kerwin local funding. You heard President Dudley speak about the governor and his position on Kerwin funding because he believes it's going to cost too much money. So we want to be ready. We need to be geared up just as we were. You look at some of these signs around here when we were out marching in support of public education. We want to march to make sure that we get the Kerwin funding. We want to stay on the front, sending emails, sending letters, texts, phone calls, whatever we need to do to support this effort. Coming up in, I have the dates for this. Blueprint for Maryland's future public education programs. We'll be hosting events because people need to be informed. So mark your calendars.
They're in the newsletter.
They're in the newsletter. The first one will be held in Laurel, October 10th. And then in Bowie on October 23rd. And we have Largo on November 12th. I don't think we had any other dates we talked about.
There was another date.
There's another date, we could talk about having one in the southern region.
Jamal has the date.
Oxon Hill, November 18th.
Okay, Oxon Hill, November 18th.
Say the dates again.
Let me say it again. So this is the Blueprint for Maryland's Future Public Education Forum. In Laurel, October 10th. In Bowie, October 23rd. In Largo, November 12th. And Oxon Hill, November 18th. Okay. And then every year we hold a legislative reception where we set forth our agenda and meet and greet with the legislators here. And the date for that event, we have moved it up to December 13th. So we kind of went back and forth on this. We wanted to make sure that our government representatives would be available. Traditionally, we held it in January, but January got kind of iffy because of the weather. So the new date for this year is December 13th.
Excuse me for a second. Let me just say this. And I see a lot of you scrambling to try to write and keep up with the notes. Every Sunday at 3 o'clock, the Newsette drops into your email, into your personal email account. We cannot send it to your PGCPS email because if I'm saying something that they don't want to hear, that's not going to look good. Right? Right. There's some things that we have the union, we've got to keep to ourselves.
Right.
So please, you don't have to write down everything. If you got the Newsette yesterday, you got all this information. So I want you to please, what day does it come? Sunday. What time? 3 o'clock.
1500.
We ain't doing nothing but watching the news anyway.
You didn't hear that from me, I'm just saying. So anyway, please take note of those dates. And if you haven't been looking at your newsletters, please keep up with them because this is extremely important. We made some great strides with the support of the members of this association. It's been a long time since members stepped up the way they did this last time. So just keep up the good work and let's work together. Thank you.
All right, just to add real quick in 2 seconds. Okay, so 30 years ago, 28 years ago, I thought I was something and I ran for office. I didn't know what I was doing. I was complaining about there was no rec center in Kentland, and my civic association treasurer said, I said, why don't you run? He said, how much does it cost? I said, $25. he wrote me a check for $25 and said, shut up. That's all it costs to be on the agenda and to have the conversations. When they have candidate forums, you get to speak about what the issues are in public education. We have an opportunity to elect 5, maybe 6. No, well, Eubanks was up anyway. So 5 school board members. In February, the top 2 election getters, top 2 vote getters go to the general election in November. And it's gonna be a big turnout. It's gonna be a big turnout for the primaries, and it's gonna be a big turnout for the general election. We have to be ready. Now, last year, we decided to do a campaign, right? For getting our contract, with our bargaining for the common goods, and so that we had seed money so that we could deal with Kerwin and what happens out of the Kerwin Commission and the Blueprint for Excellence. So this year, we're doing something a little bit different because, is it my turn? Not yet. I'm gonna wait, it's not my turn. But it's a good story, I'm going to tell you. Jeff, come here.
My turn.
Come on, Jeff. I almost forgot. Come on, Jeff. This is Jeff. Everybody give him a hand. What's the actual name? Jeff is the head of the W-2 group. That's his firm. And he specializes in labor union accounting. And so he's going to be working with us with our Bill.com and our audits and our bookkeeping and supporting our treasury. So when there's issues with stipends, right? Yes. See Donna and Jeff. Don't email me.
Who's out here?
I will follow up on it if you don't get it, but most of the time it's a minor thing, a glitch or somewhere. But I will tell you that Bill.com works because I get reimbursed for my stuff quickly, much quicker than I used to. Now, for those of you who are going to the convention, you will need to sign up for Bill.com so that you get your stipends in an expeditious manner. Talk about that. The stipends will be, should be, if you've already signed up for Bill.com and you're a rep, all you have to do is come to the meeting and sign the paperwork. Those of you who are not on Bill.com, we'll have the procedures for you to sign up, or we'll send you something. So if you get something, if you're a building rep, and you get something in your email that says you need to sign up for Bill.com, and they're asking you for your banking information, it's legit. Bill.com is legit because when you sign up for Bill.com, we don't get your banking information. Bill.com has the banking information. All we do is send it to them, they send it to you. Make sense? Anything else I need to add? Okay, so we're getting ready for our audit, and Jeff's going to help us with that, so we're going to be moving through. Thank you, Jeff. And I just want to add one thing to GR, is we did schedule a date for our legislative reception. That's going to be in December this year. We're not going to do it in January because the legislative session starts too early. They start the second Wednesday of the month, and the second Wednesday is the 8th. So a lot of the events that they have to have in Annapolis will conflict with our reception, so we're going to do it in December. And you'll get information about that. I'm going to bypass the grievance committee. John, where are you? I said I'm going to bypass you because I don't have anything new. Lesson planning committee, we'll talk about that under executive director report. Membership, I'm looking for Averill and Ray Rossi. Where are you? I just saw Ray. Hi, Ray. Ray and Averill will be co-chairing our membership committee. Averill was one of our sparks, and Ray has been working on our negotiations team. And who in the room was on the negotiations team? Raise your hand. Now, you guys should be jumping up and down and screaming, hollering, yay for these people. Because they work really hard. And what we're doing is the folks who are on the negotiations team have been asked to serve on the task forces and the committees that, and Jennifer's gonna talk about that under her report. And I think it's important for us to not stop the conversation now. We got a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that still need to be addressed. There's a lot of language in that contract, and we are moving in a direction that is transformational. I'll get to in my report. Minority Affairs, that committee. What's that? You haven't met yet? Okay, that's fine. Just save the Thursday or Thursday? No. The Thursday before Martin Luther King's birthday, we have the scholarship, the poster. Okay, I just want to make sure people save that date. All right? And the MSCA Martin Luther King breakfast is scheduled for the Saturday of Martin Luther King weekend. NECC, Lenore Scott. Lenore Scott, you put the calendar, come on, talk about the calendar. Let's give Lenore a hand. You know, these committee chairs, they do all this work because they love the association. I don't pay them anything. I might buy them a hamburger.
Oh.
Now it's a chicken burger.
Chicken burger, grilled chicken.
No problem. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
On the back table, you should have picked up the general elections calendar as set forth for NECC. I'm not going to go through the calendar and read everything as it is there because we are all educators and reading is fundamental. But keep in mind that our election runs at the same time as MSBA's election. The election window is from January 27th to February 21st. Please make sure that if you plan to run for a position, they're listed at the top: Board of Directors, Treasurer, MSEA Delegate, and NEA Delegate. If you plan to run for one of these positions, please pay close attention to the instructions in terms of the timeline of when you have to submit information for your nomination. We will only accept the nominations if they are submitted during the timeline. We're not going to accept emails saying that I did send it, this is email. Please submit it within the timeline. Okay? Yep. You'll see from your agenda today that NECC is conducting 2 elections, one for the endorsement committee and one for the foundation, the Education Foundation. So if you have a voting card, we have our members in the back. We're going to do them one at a time.
So I want to explain what they are, what these positions are. The NECC conducts the elections. We have to elect 2 members of the Rep Council to serve on 2 of our committees. The first committee is our PGCEA Foundation. So you will have the pleasure of working with Celeste Williams, our past president, on that foundation committee. LaShore Redmond, I saw her in the room, I think, has served on it previously. Thank you, LaShore, for your work. You can give her a hand. She worked on it. So the jobs are to attend quarterly meetings for the foundation and to make policy decisions affecting the foundation. That's what for the scholarships. It's written into the bylaws and the rules that there's somebody from this rep council on that. The second committee that we need people for is our endorsement committee. The endorsement committee works with Christy. And as chair of the government relations committee, she is also the chair of our endorsement committee. And so there are the chair of our GR committee, our PAC committee chair, the president, the vice president, the treasurer, and 4 members of the board of directors sit on that endorsement committee. Now, if you want to be on that endorsement committee, then you can be on it. You just have to run for the position here, okay? We will do these 2 today because we have to start organizing these committees, especially the endorsement committee, because I believe the questionnaires are being prepared now to go out to candidates, and we are going to be having a candidates training for anybody who's interested in running for school board. If you're interested in running for school board, you can do that too. Can't be on the endorsement committee and run for school board, but you want it. Okay? So I'm going to turn it back over to NECC to conduct the election.
Okay, we're going to begin with the foundation election. NECC members are going to come around and bring you a ballot that looks like this.
So what card? Oh.
So what we have to do is we have to open it up for nominations first.
Right.
Oh, I get it, okay. That's what
Oh,
All right.
wow, he's passing that out.
Now the front of this card, because I don't see. All right, at this time, while NECC is passing out the ballots for the foundation election, the floor is now open for nominations for that particular position. The floor is now open for nominations for the foundation committee. Marguerite Morgan Matthews. Yes. Okay, from Perrywood Elementary School, and I nominate LaShore Bradman.
Do you accept that?
L-A-S.
Are there any other nominations?
LaShore, spell your name. S-H-O-R. Oh, okay.
Are there any other nominations? I don't see anyone moving to the mic. So we're going to close nominations. Can I get someone to close the nomination?
No, we don't have.
Donna Christie, treasurer, I move we close nominations.
don't need to pass it because you got but one
Second by Albert Barnes.
We wasted paper. Yeah, we
All right, we can do this by vote by acclamation. All in favor of LaShore Redmond? Thank you so much. for PG County designee on the PG CEA Endorsement Committee. The floor is now open for nominations. It will bring you a different ballot. That one you can discard. Keep it, if you do rep, keep it for your souvenir.
Did I hear
So
nothing?
let me tell you what the endorsement council is gonna look like and what time commitment it's going to be. We will be interviewing candidates in the evenings and after school, in the evenings after school. We'll try not to do that, because it was tough for people because there's more than one meeting. The desire is for us to do as many of the interviews as we can on Saturdays, so that we won't have to utilize a lot of leave of having people come in, and then a lot of the candidates for school board are part-time legislators. So that means that they work jobs during the day, and a lot of times we kept going back and forth with them. So if you are interested, if you have any
Floor is
questions.
now open. We recognize Donna Christie.
Donna Christie, treasurer, I nominate Norman White from Thomas Johnson Middle School.
Norman White. Where's Norman? Do you accept? Okay. Are there any other nominations? Oh, listen up. I want to be able to hear. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Marguerite Mormon Matthews, Thomas Croman. Derek Croman. Derek Cromer.
Yes. I'm sorry for growing. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Did you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I can't forget myself.
I wrote, is it Derek Comer and then only one? Okay.
Just need one. Are there any other nominations? Yes. So what we're going to do is, we're going to fill the seat with 2 votes. We're going to have one person that's on the committee and one as an alternate in case that person is not able to serve. So at this present time, we have 2 names. We have Norman White and Derek Cromer. Are there any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, I see no one rising to the mic. Can we get somebody to close?
I move to close the nominations.
Felix Lazaro, second.
The nomination has been moved and closed on the 2 names, Norman White, Derek Cromer. At this time, what we need you to do is vote for one. We have 2 individuals, so the person that gets the most votes will be the person on the committee. The second in line will be the person who does not, who serves as the alternate. So, you are welcome to write both names on the sheet, but only put a check by the one that you would like to be on the committee. If there are 2 checks on your ballot will be invalid. Are there any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Norman White, if you can come to the front, please. And Mr. Cromer, Derek Cromer, if you can come to the front, please. Everyone can see who you are, so they know who they're voting for. Quickly.
You get, come up here and speak. We got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
That's not fair. We've already voted.
90 seconds. You got a minute and a half. You got 2 hours. You're nominated first.
Oh, no, I'm good. Because I'm already slipped. No, I'm already
There you go.
Which is Luke? Who's Luke? My name.
All right, so I'm Norman White, work at Thomas Johnson. Some of you may know I was on the board before. Last year I was on the endorsement committee. Yeah, it takes stamina, and I have the stamina to do it. I've done it before. And yeah, please elect me back to this endorsement committee and we'll have fun. wow. Yeah, that's hard to follow. I'm Derek Cromer, and this is my first time being nominated for the endorsement committee. I am a politically active individual throughout this county and at my school at Oxon Hill Middle School. I am a special educator there as well. I would like to be on the committee because where we are in Prince George's County right now, we really need some politicians who are going to put schools first. And we really, I think I'm good at that because I have a keen knack for recognizing bull crap. I know my school members and all my clients, they would tell you that. So, and everybody that knows me knows that. I really go hard at politicians. Ask, I ain't gonna say his name.
All right, so if you would please go ahead. NEC, please collect the ballots.
Hold them up in the air so they can pick them up, please.
Fold them or just hold them? Hold them or hold them? We can read it. Come on, Tisha. Hey! Once NECC has tallied the ballots, we'll come back before you and give you the results.
Put it out. Hey, now. No sign language.
Okay. All right. So we have the new PDL and Read Across America. Norman, did you get the flyer? I think the flyer went out. No, the flyer went out. I think it was in the Newsette. It's okay. You check the Newsette on. Come here, Norman. Come back up. Get that back. Right.
Any others?
All right, good evening. So Norman White, once again, not running for anything this time. So I'm the Read Across America chair. So things are going to change a little bit with Read Across America. You guys, Teresa said she sent out a flyer this weekend.
It may not have went out.
It may not have went out. Well, anyway, if you don't get the flyer, contact Teresa or contact Norman White at normanwhite. Use your PGCPS, and I'll make sure that you get something. So, NEA is moving away from Dr. Seuss. I think we all know that.
Huh?
Right?
What?
No? Yes?
No. What?
No? So yeah, so we're moving away.
What Dr.
We're
Seuss?
moving away
Which
from
one?
Dr. Seuss, and they're giving books, culturally relevant books, they're giving all sorts of books out. They have a book of the month, like this year for September to Imagine. So they have a lot of books that they're asking us to read to the children, and it's monthly now. I will, if you want me to, send you what Lily sent me so that you'll know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
And I'll be back next month, and next month I'm going to start talking about donating books and clothes to the homeless shelter. So I'll try to get right in front of that as much as I can. And do you want to cover anything else, Lisa? Okay, thank you. Teresa said it better than I did. So say it again, Teresa. They didn't want to.
One of the reasons why they're not using Dr. Seuss anymore is there were some concerns about some of his early writings and books not being multicultural or culturally sensitive. I get that. I also think it has something to do with royalties and utilization of Dr. Seuss's name. So,
Okay, now I
but I don't know that for 100, but when I find out, I'll let you know. And now we have, I feel like Oprah today. And now we have Raina Miller, our PDL chair.
11th and the 19th of September. If you sent people, if you came, I want you to give yourself a shout out. We have some trainings coming up for you, so just check the newslet and check your email.
I signed up to sign up for this. What is this thing? Yeah.
So we're also looking towards having our Educational Leadership Conference in November during National Education Week. Keep your eyes open because we have to train up the leaders in our association. Let's see, who next? PR. She here? No. Right there. You not the chair? You got the report? No, Andrea Duncan is the chair, you the liaison. If you would like to give a report.
Good morning. No.
Hey, I feel you. I feel you.
Zena Whitworth, Charles Herbert Flowers High School, Public Relations Liaison. So basically this year, we're gonna focus on building strength within the school. So building stronger schools for Prince George's County, meaning that let's build our membership in our schools, working on FAC. We're trying to get all the ratios together in all our schools. We want to make sure that every school has the proper 1-to-10 ratio, 1-to-25 ratio in their schools. So this year, the focus is making our schools strong. So that means that I'm still looking for ambassadors. We're looking for ambassadors from every school so that they're attending the board meetings, attending county council meetings, accounting, so that we're present. Because when we go to the board meetings and we stand up and we're talking about health benefits, it helps if someone is in the room with your blue shirts or your red shirts, so that the people on the board can know that PGCA is in the house. Presence and your voices are very important. Don't be afraid to sign up and give your 3-minute speech at the board meetings and even at our own meetings. Thank you. Yeah, definitely, please. The newsletter, we work very hard on to make sure everyone is relevant, everyone is identified, everyone is represented. So please tell your coworkers to definitely look for the newsletter. If you're not getting the newsletter, send us an email, and that way we make sure you're getting the newsletter, because the revolution will not be televised.
So one of the things that has happened under Dr. Thornton's leadership is that the school board has gone back to every other week school board meetings on Thursdays. And I've been watching the past couple of weeks, and it's been very consistent. So what I will say to you is that it was really challenging for me 2 weeks ago when I went to the school board meeting, and I'm complaining about our medical benefits going up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I felt a little uncomfortable that there weren't more people there. And somebody said you didn't know. And I'm gonna say you didn't read the newsletter.
You're right.
And maybe I'm a jerk for saying that, and maybe I'm being a little insensitive, but I will tell you this. Our profession is not one where you can sit passively by and let people run over you. That's why they're kicking our butts every which way to Sunday in the buildings, and then you come crying to me about it, and I'm trying to tell y'all, show up, speak up, step up. We did it to get this contract. Let's not let this momentum die now. So there's still opportunities to have these conversations about this insurance council. When you see the information coming out about that, we have made a proposal. We're working with the school board members. If it's not something that the CEO wants to do, then we have to make it policy and have the Board of Education make it policy. Not everybody's gonna do what we want to do just because they like us and we're cute and cuddly. I like her too. But we've got to do what we've got to do for our membership. So, sorry. Marguerite Matthews, Social Committee.
President Debbie.
Yes.
Restorative practice.
I'm going to get to you. Hold on. I didn't forget you because I wanted, just the health thing on the big thing, I wanted to get that in the segue.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, first of all, just like our president said, that we want to have exercise classes here, but we need to know a day that works for you. So if Monday works for you, raise your hand, Monday. Okay. Tuesday, okay, one. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday. But when we have our board meetings, okay, Saturday morning. Okay, I think there's more people on Saturday. Saturday afternoon. Okay, but we want to make a way, so we'll send out a survey. Okay. Well, I'm with the social chair. I'm the chair of the social committee. Our first meeting is going to be October 7th at PGCA, 4:30. We also have our Pink Saturday that's coming up. So NEA benefits is going to be here along with everything else that you see on the flyer. We're going to have several guest speakers. We also have yoga and mindfulness. Yoga? Yes, yoga. Okay. That's it. Okay. Okay, and look out for information about our holiday party. And because when we meet October 7th, so if you have any ideas, come on out October 7th here at PGCA, 4:30.
Okay, thank you. Celeste is looking for your donation card paper envelopes for the foundation. So one of the things that the social committee, when we have events, and I'm going to give this to Marguerite because I want her to help me on this. One of the things that is really important to me is domestic violence. We have had 2 members murdered since I've been president. Deshante Davis was murdered down in, I feel like the militia coming in here. Hold on a second. Deshante Davis and Gladys Tordille out at High Point. She was from Parkdale, but she got shot at High Point. The end result was tragically the same. So you guys want to tell us who won? Is that what you're here for? Okay. And then I'm going to continue on with Robin.
Before I give the results, I just wanted to take a moment for you to meet the NEC committee commissioners. I'm going to ask if they just give you their names.
Brian Glover, Barack Obama Elementary.
Raul Daggett, Crossman High School.
Nicole Ross, Suitland Elementary.
Olive Lennox, Pearwood Elementary. Dominique Bivens, Paint Branch Elementary.
Cameron Leo, Boston High School.
Elizabeth Lazaro, Rockledge Middle School.
And I'm Lenora Scott from Parkdale High School. So, our results are as follows. Norman White will be our representative on the committee with 55 votes, and Derek Comer will be his alternate with 50 votes. One last piece of business for NEC commissioners that we have in the back. Before you leave or whenever you get a moment, we'll be in the area where you signed in. We're gonna have the lobby. In the lobby. Anyway, we would like you to come by and pick up your updated school roster. One representative from your school. Some will be in envelopes and some will not. It's okay. You didn't get an envelope. We just want to make sure you get a roster.
That's so you know who's a member and who's not a member. Okay, so we were talking about domestic violence. I'm going to go back to that for just a second, and I'm going to head over to Robin. So, as I mentioned, we had the 2 members. This year, I have been asked to serve on a community crisis services organization, and they run the Family Crisis Center in Prince George's County. And as if I don't have enough to do, they only meet once a month, and it's a policy board. However, I feel as though there's something that I have to do, you know, domestic violence is real not just for women, but for men too. And when the police came to my house, right, and my husband and I were getting into it because he was cheating on me, I'm just telling you the truth, right? I thought he deserved it. Right? I thought he deserved it and that I was justified in being violent towards him. And I know some of you are saying that's what he gets, right? When we had a domestic violence workshop here at PGCEA in December 2 years ago, I asked the lady, I said, is it okay if he cheats on me and I whip his butt? And she said, no, it's still violence. It's still violence. Because your kids see it. The children see it. Then what do? They come to school and fight with the other kids and fight with us. Now look, I'm not proud of what I did. I swear I'm not. I'm still mad at him. He's not coming back. No. However, I did write him an apology letter. And I apologize for being violent. I apologize for my children, for showing them a bad example. I'm a work in progress, right? But you know what? When you know better, you what? Do better. Right? And I learned that in my house. When my mother and father got into a fight, that's what it turned into. So we have to break the cycle. And I'm trying to break that cycle. I've broken it in my family. My children know better now. They will not act like that. Now, when a child is in that situation in the house, and there's fighting going on, and the police show up, the children are scared to death. I know because I was one of them little kids. I was scared to death when the police showed up. So, one of the things we're doing throughout the month of October, and I went to the Build-A-Bear store. It was the teddy bear day. And I bought a teddy bear. I bought 6 of them, as a matter of fact. And I even got him a little jacket. Little top, right? So what we're doing is what we did previously, is we will be collecting teddy bears for the Sheriff's Department. Because in Prince George's County, the sheriffs run first due in 90% of the domestic violence calls. And when the kids are all traumatized, they give them the teddy bears, and it helps to ease the child's anxiety. So, I need somebody to make me a box, to decorate a box for us, for our lobby, for October. Anybody want to do that for me? Bam. Thank you very much. We'll get you whatever materials you need. All right? And
okay, also there's at Watkins Park, there's a free walk. It's called Shatter the Silence 5K Run Walk, and we can come there as educators and we can walk. We can put together a team, and that is October 28th. October 28th. And what I'll do is I'll send the link to Teresa or Melissa or Adrian, and they can post it. But it's, you get there early in the morning.
we'll put it in the news app. You're in charge of that. Make it happen. Make it happen. Now, it can't be the 28th.
Okay, you know what?
The 25th. Well, that's why we gotta make sure we get it right before we send it out. Okay? So now, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In reference to domestic violence, the Office of the Sheriff, Prince George's County, has a Purple Light Nights, October 1st. It's going to be at PG Community College this year. Come out and support their efforts on domestic violence in the county.
So would you do me a favor? I think I have that information,
I can send
October
the
the
link.
1st. I think we need to support that, okay? I appreciate you. You gonna go? Okay. All right. If you go, I'll go. October the 1st. Okay. All right, Robin?
Thank you, President Dudley. I wanted to just quickly emphasize Pink Saturday. And I was diagnosed with breast cancer in March. And what I realized is that there was no support for educators in PGCPS. I didn't know where to go. And of course, there's so much information out there, it becomes very overwhelming. So I felt like because we are a union that takes care of our own, I asked Marguerite, is it okay if we do something around, cancer? Because females go through breast cancer, but it also affects males. But this particular Pink Saturday is not just for breast cancer. There's going to be information about other types of cancers that affect our members. So just don't take this and put it in your pile of papers. Please hang it up in your school, because there's somebody in your building that may need to see this, to know that there's support. Because that support is so important. And I appreciate the women and the men from this union that supported me and still supported me as I go through this journey, because it is a journey. So I just really wanted to emphasize this Pink Saturday. Thank you for that moment.
Robin, can I ask you a question? Is it just for breast cancer, or is it any kind of cancer?
It's any kind of cancer. We're going to have one of our own who actually wrote her story. She was going to also be here to have that story with us.
Because I'm a survivor too, right? No, I had cancer in my neck a couple years ago. Yeah. Yeah, my first year, almost right to my first year. Go ahead, you want to talk about restorative practices?
Yes, thank you. So, Robin McNair, Restorative Practices Committee member, because I'm no longer the chair for this committee, but it's going to continue to go strong and make it do what it do. I wanted to say thank you so much for the negotiation team, because there were victories around restorative practices through the negotiation, so thank you for that. Yeah, woo-hoo. But what I want to encourage you to do is hold PGCPS to the nail for what they put in the negotiating agreement. As you know, I had 10 trainings scheduled, and I was directed to cancel first the 5 spring trainings and then the 5 summer trainings. Okay? Hold PGCPS accountable for what they negotiated and agreed to in that contract. Right? Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. All right? But it's going to be some revamping taking place. All right? And when I know what it is, you'll know what it is. But on Tuesday, I felt like I could not wait. There needed to be something in place for those people who have had training before. So there's going to be a Circle Keepers refresher, because one of the things about being restorative with young people is that you need to be refreshed, because we know how young people are, and we're human. So I needed to do something, and there's going to be a Circle Keepers refresher. Maybe you picked it up, and it's for those people who've been trained in the Circle process, and it's just going to basically carry you through the process and give you more tools, and just kind of answer any questions about nuances or challenges that you have gone through with doing the Circle process with young people. And I think that's it. We don't know what date the Restorative Practice Committee will be meeting, so I'm not going to give that information.
Thank you, Robin. Whatever information you have, make sure it gets to Josh so that it can go out in the Newsday. Okay? Thank you. And Robin, thank you for being brave to come forward. Thank you for being brave. Absolutely. Sparks. Where'd she go? I just saw her. Where's Philomena? Why are you hiding? Come on. Go ahead to the microphone.
Hello, everybody. Philomena Owana, Maya Angelou, French immersion. So Sparks, I see a lot of Sparks in the house, and we have new Sparks delegates, well, former Sparks that are building reps. I'm looking at one right here we want to highlight. So Sparks is an
How many Sparks are in the room? If you're a Spark, raise your hand.
Hi, raise it high. Raise
There
them
you go.
high.
New leaders.
That's right. So Sparks is awesome. Like I said, this is a vehicle for leadership. PGCEA has just so much, a wealth of everything. And what I love about this is that we love to share. They love to share. So come, bring your people, send them over. We're going to welcome them, and we're going to walk them through the training program. But basically, in October for the convention, MSCA convention, we are taking a whole bunch of new folks to the MSCA convention. We have over 20 right now. We actually have to cap the number because we have just so many people. We had over 80 people. We sent out the invites, over 80 people that are interested in fill out different things. So right now, Sparks, we're taking those people out to the convention to see how it is, and when they come back, trying to walk them through our leadership process. Like we want new leaders. We just voted for 2 wonderful people, right? So we need more people coming up. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Cole. She has anything else to say.
Marilyn Cole? They co-chair that committee. It's a lot of work.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Well, right now, I think we have up to about 20 plus, almost 30 sparks to go to MSCA convention. So we are working on the program.
Okay, we have to cut it off at 30. That's it. I want to keep my job. So Sparks is a great program, and what we're going to do is, clearly we need to do more with the Sparks. If we have that many people that are interested in the program, we can move forward. Give it to LaShore. Oh, here's Celeste. And we can do another Sparks in the spring. Sparks is a program where we take the members to Ocean City for the MSCA convention. And they go to the MSCA convention, they attend the classes, they go to the, they have lunch with the president and the board of directors. We talk about what being a part of MSCA and NEA is, and then they get up in the morning and they have breakfast with our caucus, our delegates, so they can learn. And the reason why it's so important for us to do it now at the convention, because if you look on that paperwork that gives you the timeline for application to be delegates, the deadline comes up really quick, the beginning of November. So we want to make sure that we capture that enthusiasm. And how many of the Sparks in the room here are going to be delegates this year? Okay, and that's great. They're delegates now. Some of them went to the national convention in July. So we got to give people opportunity, and making them sit for a year and wait till they can run again, I thought was a little bit too much. So special education, Portia Deal, where are you? Whoop, 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 special education. Yeah, give her a double hand clap because she's doing a yeoman's job. Go ahead. Talk right into that microphone.
Good evening. In response to the negotiations that had taken place for the contract and even from last year, the special education has a task force. And the task force meets with PGCPS, the Chief of Special Education, Director of Special Education, once a month. And when we sit at the table, we're collaboratively working through the different concerns that our special educators and our service providers have. We're working with them to possibly have some professional development. Nothing has been secured, but we had a meeting last week, and it looks like that is going to happen this year. And they're not putting us off. They said we were going to meet in September. We met last year. September this year, they sent out our agenda for the year, so we will be meeting with them every month. And then we have a couple of people who are going to be on their staffing committee. So the Special Education Committee is really working hard. Now, we meet the third Tuesday of every month at 4:45. We need committee members. And we have a special group that's working hard. They worked hard last year and the year before. But we need new people to come out so that we can do more and with our special education, having different events. And also, we want to have more service providers. On our committee, we don't have a service provider. So if there's someone who is interested, could you please contact me at pdeal6345@gmail.com. I'm not a service provider, so I cannot give the information or know the concerns that are taking place with our service providers, but you do. And we need that at the table. So remember, my email is pdeal6345@gmail.com. So if you send me any information about you, please chalk it up to my head, not my heart. I have missed some emails. Please resend it so that we can send it out to you. We want as many people involved as possible. And when we march, when we go down to the Board of Education, we need more special educators with shirts on, identifying themselves as the special educators of Prince George's County CEA.
One more time the spelling.
Sure. PDEAL6345@gmail. You're welcome.
We'll get it for you, and what we'll do is we'll put it up on the screen in a second, okay? You gotta come over here and give it to Jennifer so she can put it up on the screen, all right? Keela Foster. Where is she go? I saw her. Okay, I know you don't have a report, but I just wanted to let everybody know that she's the chair of the Tuition Reimbursement Committee, and she's been working really hard, and we're moving in a different direction. We're trying to look at some of the things we're doing, so thank you, Keela. So there isn't any new business that was presented to the president as of today. I want to give you my report. First thing I want to talk about is our conditional teachers. This year we lost 439 conditional teachers. Let me say that again. We lost 439 conditional teachers. And during this summer, I spent a lot of time and energy. And Ray, thank you for all the help that you gave me this summer and the staff that we have here, working on writing an appeal for those folks to get their jobs back. So here's the rub. The rub is that the school system continues every year to hire conditional teachers. And when you hire conditional teachers, we all know what happens. A, they struggle in the classroom. B, they're just trying to figure out how to put underwear on in the morning, and they don't have time to take all of those classes they're supposed to take, especially if they haven't been an educator before. Now, it took me 3 years to get my certification. I needed 27 credits. It took me 3 summers at Trinity. So I know what the workload is like. And back in those days, they gave us a little waiver and said, here, this pays your first $375. You pay the other $50. They're not doing that for our educators anymore, and I think it's disingenuous for them to say, oh, well, you didn't get it, you're fired, okay? The other piece of the puzzle that is very frustrating is that there were so many conditional teachers that were hired in 2017, 2016, and 2018, that those conditional teachers did not receive their certificate review when they walked in the door. Now, Prince George's County Public Schools acts as an arm of the Maryland State Department of Education when it comes to certification. So they are supposed to be doing that.
So it's disingenuous to say to somebody, oh, you've got 2 years to finish, but for the first year, I'm not going to tell you what you even need to start taking. Right? So really, you only got 1 year, because by the time you go to sign up for classes, they were all full if it's the ones that you need. Now, I started as a provisional teacher, so I know a little bit about this. I didn't major in education. I was going to own my own radio station. Never too late, right? You're right, Jennifer. So at least I get to talk on a microphone here. But the point is that we are going to be, we're looking at what actions we can take, because first of all, a lot of the people didn't get what they needed to, they didn't get their certification reviews done. And if you didn't do the certification review, how can you not apply for me to get a waiver? Now, I've asked the school system, what is the requirement for a waiver? And I was told, well, we just need to ask for them and hope that the state gives it to us. And I'm like, well, there's got to be some kind of criteria for a waiver. Do I need 12 credits and take the praxis? Do I need to take at least attempt to take the praxis even if I don't pass it? What is it that I really need to do? Now, MSDE sent out a letter last week, and I don't understand the imbecilic behavior, but they did, on a vote that was taken in April, where they voted that if you don't have your provisional, if you have a conditional certificate, that if you have a 3.0 GPA coming out of your latest degree that you received, then you don't have to take the core part of the praxis. They just sent it out last week. The problem is, it does not match up with, now hear me now, because your certification is your life in this business. What it doesn't match up with is the recommendations that the Maryland State Department of Education has voted to implement. A lot of stuff doesn't match up. So, right now, this month, the board, the state board issued their plan of what they wanted our certification requirements to look like back in August. They're doing this stuff real quiet. They're not telling us what they're doing. I found out about it because Donna and I sit on the state board and they were talking about it. And they're talking about issues like, well, if you don't have to get your master's degree, then what's going to force the school system to pay for us to get our master's? What? I think that's a wonderful thing to consider, but I'm looking at my folks that just got fired. And I'm looking at why aren't we looking at the conditional teachers program, and why did Prince George's County cut the resident teachers program out this year? Because I know many teachers, some of them sitting right here in this room, that had applied for that resident teachers program, studied real hard and worked their butts off to pass that praxis, then to have the rug pulled out from underneath them, and now they're facing with going to take all those classes, as opposed to the resident teacher program that certifies you after a year with all the classwork. So it's messy. But I'm going to tell you this. The Professional Standards and Evaluations Board, PSTEB, what did I say? PSTEB, whatever they call it. I'm sorry. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. But this is really important. But the PSTEB committee is chaired, professional standards. This is an important committee. It's made up of teachers that when the Maryland State Department of Education decides to change our certification, it goes to this committee, and it did. And the committee said, oh, no, we don't like all of this stuff because they're doing some kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs things and devaluing what we do as a profession, okay? And they didn't look at the conditional certification at all. They didn't look at all at taking the praxis and making it a cumulative score. Why should somebody not be able to teach because they missed the math by 2 points? Yeah, right. They used to do a cumulative, but then Pearson started lobbying and they changed it back. So, So here's what's happening. PISTEV has decided to ask the Maryland State Department of Education to put together a conference committee. And that conference committee is supposed to meet so they can have like a conference, like when bills become laws and they have conference committees, kind of like that. And they're requesting that the state board do that. Now the state board can just say, hey, too bad for you, this is the law. And we can file a complaint with the Labor Relations Board and do those sorts of things. But you know who's the governor's in charge of a lot of this stuff, okay? So here's what I'm gonna ask you. Keep your eyes open, because I'm gonna need, we, PGCEA, needs to have a voice in this conversation. Because the reality of the situation is our evaluation system and how we are looked at as professionals in this business is at stake in this. And so I was looking at the committee, and there wasn't a whole lot of Prince George's County people on that PSTEB committee. So we need to make sure, and Don and I are going to be running roughshod on this. Whenever somebody says anything about a committee, we're going to nominate somebody from Prince George's County. Okay? We might nominate 2 or 3 people. They asked me if I had any people that want to go to NEA leadership. I gave them 6 names. They said I could only have 3. That's all right. I sent them 6 names anyway, because some other people may not go. So that's one thing. Now I'm gonna put this microphone down because I gotta use my arms for this. All right. Right now, where we are in public education is a convergence of a whole lot of stuff happening at one time. In 2015, Congress passed the Every Student Succeeds Act, right? Every Student Succeeds Act was passed in a way to help us get away from some of the standardized testing mess and give us local autonomy on what our evaluation system should look like. That's why the state's reviewing it now. On what our testing should look like, on what our schools should look like. And so what they're doing, the state, it came from the federal government in 2015. Many of you, and I know Sheena was there, at the listening sessions that the state did on a community, on the state plan that they gave to the federal government. Well, they've gotten their state plan approved by the federal government, and our state plan really is crying out, we need community schools. It was written specifically for that. We helped massage the message on the state level so that they couldn't come in with charters, and they couldn't come in with vouchers, and they couldn't come in with turnaround programs that we know don't work. Because it doesn't work to clean everybody out the building. It doesn't work if the children don't have the services that they need. So, I'm over on the ESSA side, and as the president, we've been dealing with this since I became president. There are 2 types of schools. One is a Community Support Initiative School. CSI, Community Support Initiative School. We've got 3 of them. High Point, Northwestern, and Northwestern High School. They are, as far as Title I schools are concerned in the state of Maryland, they're in the bottom 5%. But those are only the schools that are identified as Title I, and the county's playing funny with the money about Title I as far as which schools are gonna be Title I and which ones are not. Some of our high schools have higher poverty rates, but what the decision was, well, we can make 1 high school Title I, or we can make 9 elementary schools Title I. So those are the decisions that are being made about this that we need to be cognizant of. So you've got the CSI schools. Those 3 schools, because of their designation, will receive $500,000 in resources, money from the federal government to help those schools improve. They've got 3 years to get it together with $500,000. Then $500,000 over 3 years, right? Then you have the Target TSI schools. those are schools that are failing in one area or another. That means special education, and almost 80% of the schools in Prince George's County that are targeted support initiative schools are TSI schools because of special education. And how our immigrant population, our ELL learners are doing, how our minorities are doing. But I'm going to say something else in a second, but I want to finish this conversation. So the concept of CSI and TSI schools happening, and I believe there's about 40 of them, and they made them the G schools where they receive, that G3 schools where they receive $25 million from the federal government. They had a big press conference about it I went to a couple years ago. Well, that money's about to end in a couple years. It's not going to be there. Then what are we going to do? So, we got ESSA reauthorization happening. And then we have community schools happening. Why? Because the Kirwan Commission, the state, Maryland General Assembly, put a down payment on some of the reforms that we needed to do in education. Community schools is a model that works across the country when implemented with fidelity. When you have the 6 pillars of community schools and the booklets are outside, if you don't have one, you need to have one, okay? Restorative practices, family and community engagement, an enriched curriculum, shared leadership, cultural relevance, right? There's 6 of them. And what has happened is the state has said, okay, I went to the state, we were only supposed to have 3. It was in the budget for 3, $1.5 million. I went to the state and I said, we need money for 9. We need money for 9. I want to do one. I thought we could do 1 in the north because I'm the vice chair of the committee. One feeder pattern in the north, another feeder pattern in the center, another one in the south. Train those coordinators together. Sounds like a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, instead of getting 9, they gave us 45. And we already had 9 schools that were kind of doing community schools, but not really, that were part of the Transforming Neighborhood Initiative, TNI. Buck Lodge was one of them. Okay? And so now we've got TNI schools, we've got CSI schools, we've got community schools, and nobody knows what the SAM they're doing. We asked for memorandum of understanding because they told us that the community schools coordinators were not going to be PGCPS employees because Dr. Golson was concerned where those 45 people going to come from if they're teachers. There's a shortage right now, you know it, right, in your buildings. So that's what they decided to do. Now, let me just say something to you. I think everybody on the board of directors, including myself, when we had our retreat, had a fit about it, okay? Called Dr. Thornton on the phone, called Angela Alston-Brooks on the phone right from the retreat, because I wanted everybody to hear me say to them that we think this is some shiggity. I didn't use the word shiggity. But the issue is now moving forward, what are we going to do as an association to make sure that these programs are implemented with fidelity in the buildings and that our members know exactly what's going on, right? Because I don't want anyone to think that this is all management's great, wonderful idea to make community schools. It was Amity Pope and PGCEA and those community groups together that fought to get community schools policy written in Prince George's County. And so we cannot let that go away. We cannot let this go away. And when I say let it go away, we cannot let them do what they want to do without having a conversation with us.
Right.
So we met with Dr. Golson right before school started. And needless to say, I was really perturbed about the community schools coordinators because I thought they should be right? So what she said to me was, and I have this in writing, is that PGCEA can have a specific representative on the community schools committees and the CSI committees and the TSI committees in these schools. We will train them. We will teach people what they need to know. We're working with the Alliance to reclaim our schools, to do civic academies. There's one October the 3rd at CASA in the evening. And we will do more of them, and we need people to start talking about community schools in a way that is going to be one that's going to transform our schools positively, as opposed to check off on compliance. So I brought it before the board of directors as part of our campaign that we had established last year, and there are the resources to do this left over, that our vice president, Yvonne Basich, is going to be released half-time. And what she's going to be doing is she's going to be working with Frank Thornton and Demetrius Bettis. Anybody else who wants to help or be a part of this, please let us know, because if we're not at this table in our buildings, in this microeconomic level, we will definitely be on the menu, because your principal will pick their friends. They'll pick their friends that are going to co-sign, as opposed to question, say, well, wait a minute, this is not part of the 6 pillars. How are you doing the problem solving? How are you making sure that these programs that you're implementing are going to address the real issues based on the needs assessment that was done in our schools? So, if your school is one of those community schools, you need to see Yvonne Basich. Where'd she go? She's here somewhere. She's probably in the bathroom. Okay? But the point is, this is really important. So that is the big thing that we're working on right now. We will be out in the buildings. Ellie Mitchell, and the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, we have partners, the NAACP, CASA, and we're going to put together, we have put together this great organization, and we are looking for organizations to be a part of it. So if you are a Delta, if you are AKA, if you are a Sigma, or you are Alpha Kappa Alpha, you all have education committees. We need you to join the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools. Your homeowners association, your civic association. You hear your neighbors complaining about the schools being overcrowded, they need to join AROS. They need to join us. So, the last thing I want to say is, thank you for coming back. And that's real talk. A lot of you had opportunities to go other places. A lot of you could. There's Yvonne. Come here, Yvonne. Not yet, but you're going to do it. I'm going to let Jennifer address it. She was the chief negotiator. Okay, so Yvonne, everybody see Yvonne? Can you see her in your building? Do I need to stand on a chair? Stand on a chair. No, you don't need to stand on a chair. So Yvonne is going to be, and hopefully this will happen within the next couple of days, that she's going to be released half-time. She'll be here 2, like A-Day, B-Day weeks. We're going to work it out that way, because we really need to get the work done. And I want to thank her for being courageous and accepting this responsibility. Give her a hand. All right, so that's it. We just want to do that's it. And Demetrius is over here. Raise your hand, Demetrius. Okay, that's Demetrius. Okay, so now we're going to move to the executive director's report. I need a motion to extend the meeting to the end of the executive director's report and member petitions and comments. Do I have a motion? Yeah. You move to the microphone. Oh, let's make a motion.
I'll make a motion. To extend the meeting.
For the executive director's report and member petitions and comments.
And member petitions and comments.
7:15. It won't take us that long. Come on. Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? getting their technology on.
I heard that.
Hold up that folder right there. Take your red folders you got in your hand. Marilyn, hold up that folder. You should have received those folders in your buildings. How many of you got them?
Nope.
Beautiful. How many of you did not get them? Check with the people in your office. We send one out to every single school. If you don't have one and you need one to do your elections in your buildings, please see the NECC and we'll get another one to you. Okay? You ready? There we go. Yes. This is Jennifer Epps, our Executive Director. Hi, everyone. Hi. All right, we're going to make this quick because I know it's been a long night. So I want to talk just an overview a little bit about membership. So as you can see from the bar graph, we're doing pretty well, and I think the treasurer talked about, you know, the work that we've done, and we've been able to maintain pretty high membership numbers considering Janice. And thank yourselves for all the work that we've done in the last year. I think our contract made a difference, and our activity with the contract made a lot of difference, these two right here. And so let's keep up the good work. I want to make sure that everybody got their rosters as they leave, because that will tell you who are the new people are in the building who aren't members, and they should be hearing from you as a representative of PGC and the PGCA in the building, as well as people who are not on the sick leave bank. So you have an idea of representation in schools, we worked really hard the year before last on trying to improve that. We were at 49%, I think, 2 years ago. We sit somewhere between 65 and 70% of our buildings being covered. We want to get to 95 to 100% of our buildings being represented, but we're on that trajectory. So with that being said, we're going to have some rep trainings. We're doing it a little bit differently this year. We want to make sure that they're in regions so that we can have folks, and this was Christy Lynch's idea, to have folks from the same areas be in the rep training. So in the southern area, which is the first one coming up, that one is happening September 26th at Sarasville High School. Everybody should have seen this in the news ad. The Central Region is the next one up, and that one's here at PGCEA on October 15th. And the third one will be in the northern area in Beltsville Academy on October 29th. So you'll get a direct message. Not only will it be in the news ad, but you'll get an email for all the reps in those areas to let you know when the meetings are happening. So I think I said it already, the roster packet, folks should have that, grab that. So this was the part that we need to really try to get to. I need your help on this, Teresa. You got in terms of ideas, so we asked for a lot in our contract. We put 50 proposals on the table. We probably reached agreement on 39 of them, and a lot of it was we wanted to change some language, but before we could even get to changing some of the language, we really had to understand what was going on in 208 buildings, right? Or 216 work sites. And so that being said, we had a lot of task force and work groups in order to establish them and get some recommendations together so that we can fight for them next go round in negotiation or between now and the next negotiation cycle. So, tuition reimbursement, we talked about that a little bit. We've got Keela, and Brian O'Neill, he's a staff rep, Rodney and Colette and Michael, that team probably looks okay. I think we might need two to three more members on that. Planning time, if Michelle is so what we wanted to do is and I think Teresa talked about it, make sure that the bargaining team members play a role because they're negotiating the contract, so they understand the language and the intent. But we need other members to work on those things. So planning time and lesson planning, I think we're good. Class size is a big one. Class size is going to be Christy Lynch and Claudette Clark and Ray Rossi and myself.
and we're gonna need 2 to 3 more members. I think we're gonna need to make sure that we cover all different types to make sure that we're having enough secondary people, enough elementary school folks, because we wanna kind of get an analysis of where we are with class size. And I know now it might look a little bit different in October when the classes sort of level out, hopefully. But also, if we want to have a campaign on this, we really need to understand what's going on.
Let me just add. Sorry, put carrot in my mouth, I'm trying to be good, y'all. Prince George's County has allowed developers to continue to develop residential growth at a point that is alarming. All the other jurisdictions are pumping the brakes on class size. And the reason why Christy Lynch, the chair of the GR committee, is on that committee is because if we have to run a referendum, we just got to run a referendum and protect our jobs and protect our children. Because for the past 30 years, I've watched these developers build 1,000 homes and no room in the schools for the children. If you live over by Woodmore, you know what I'm talking about. Flowers High School, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You live in Surrattsville. You're building down there. Those people in Fairwood were so mad, they went to the planning board when they were trying to build some more houses out there. They're blowing up Prince George's County. Every piece of open space, they're putting up houses. And where are those kids gonna go to school? And I know they're trying to come with this P3 school program, but in the meantime, we gotta pump the brakes a little bit so that our schools can level up. Thank you.
All right, and then special education, I think you heard from Portia in terms of the need there. Collaborative planning, Yvonne is gonna take that up because that came up in negotiations. We want some language on it, but I think we need to go further. Health insurance, Tom Duke, he was here, he left. But the insurance committee that Teresa was talking about, extended time, so that is for folks who are going to Camp Schmidt every year. We know there's a lot of different ways that people figure that out. Some people get comp time, some people do all kinds of things in their building. We want to streamline that and make sure that there are options that work for the members. Caseload class size or caseload size, right? So class size is one thing, but then you've got caseload on the other side of that we need to create some parameters around. And lastly, co-teaching. So what I'm gonna do is, I don't know where Adrian went, but if somebody can take now, I'm gonna ask for volunteers for people who wanna be on these different committees potentially. And then the timeline is we're gonna get together pretty soon so that we can get with the board seat, because all of these require us, it's a joint committee working with the Board of Education. So,